guys, welcome back to my channel, Noir Grimoire. I am the Voodoo Doll. Let's continue with our education on utilizing the tarot. The next card that we're going to learn today is going to be the High Priestess. I'm going to show that to you. There you go. So the High Priestess, this is a card about female intuition, secret knowledge. If you see this, she looks like a pope. So there was a rumor that there was a Pope Joan in the Renaissance times that dressed as a man and became pope. And the only reason they found out that she was not a man is that she became pregnant. So this card used to be called La Popesa. So they changed it to the High Priestess after that. But it was La Popesa, the female pope after Joan. So the High Priestess is the new name of the card. So if you look at this, you see it basically is a female pope. She's got a little cheetah at her feet. So the cheetah is obedient, subservient to her. So she's able to wield the power of this beast. So this card is the card that I always draw for myself. And I don't try to draw it if I'm doing a tarot reading and I'm asking something, and all of a sudden I'll pull this and I know that this always represents me because I am the High Priestess. Somebody that has secret knowledge, that's grounded, that has esoteric knowledge, somebody that is a little bit ahead of the normal mundane person, somebody that knows how the universe works. They're rooted, they believe in energy, they are kind of mystical. I would say female Gandalf or something you could think of. Not a magician, but this, the High Priestess. Magic is probably a part of their thing, alchemy is probably a part of their thing, but this is more about knowledge and power, being rooted in your power and standing firm in your femininity. The High Priestess would be a very mature card. This person would definitely be mature. If this person was immature, they would probably end up pulling, the Fool or one of the younger cards that we'll get into. I'm tired right now and I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Can't think of the card, not the Queen, but we'll go through it. But anyhow, the High Priestess is always going to be someone who's very mature. I'll show you the other cards of the females that are more immature, and you'll be able to see. You can even see it in the cards that the depiction of the woman in the card is a little bit younger, a little bit rosy-cheeked, doughy-eyed. Like, this is not the High Priestess. You can even look at her face. She's an older, mature woman. And she's very grounded. So if we were to look in real life for examples of the High Priestess, if I was flipping through the channel and all of a sudden Oprah came on, or Iyanla Vanzant or something like that, and I'm watching them do their show and I'm watching how they carry themselves, the knowledge, the wisdom, the grace, like that is the High Priestess. If you were in a situation where you have, let's say, two children that are arguing and they're having a fight and they're not getting along, and grandma comes in and grandma drops some truth on both of them. Instead of spanking them, she gives them a lesson and makes them make up, and they learn something, as well as being reprimanded and then placed on the right path versus just spanking their ass. That's the High Priestess. The High Priestess is always going to try to teach you a lesson, and she's going to use her skills before she resorts to violence or something. So the High Priestess would be maybe grandma in a situation in the home where you might not be the High Priestess because you're tired and you just beat everybody's ass. So the High Priestess is going to be a calm, patient person. Let's see another example of the High Priestess. We can think of, trying to think of a famous woman who is grounded and rooted. I wouldn't say Queen Elizabeth, but we're going to say Princess Diana. Now, Princess Diana obviously is a princess, but Princess Diana is the High Priestess. The reason I'm saying it's not Queen Elizabeth, because Queen Elizabeth doesn't have the kindness, the compassion, and the empathy. The High Priestess is so learned in the rules of the universe that she is very empathetic. She sympathizes with everything, and she can put herself in everyone's shoes. She has all-encompassing knowledge. Queen Elizabeth does not have that. She does not have that energy. Stoic, cold, you know, very old school. She would not be the high priestess, but Princess Diana would definitely be the high priestess. So when you go and go through your week trying to learn this card and picking examples out of your own life, go through the people in your family, the women in your family, and see who's the high priestess in your circle. It could be you and you may not have any other ones. It's very possible that you may be the only one, or it is not you, but you do have one. It might not be a family member, it might be a friend. So find the high priestess in your life, in your circle, and pick out the characteristics of this person that you know that makes them the high priestess. So then when you start doing your readings and say you draw a spread and you pull out the high priestess and you're like, oh, that's Tammy. Okay, high priestess is not even high priestess anymore. When you pull, you're like, Tammy, okay, boom, I know exactly what that card means. She's smart, she's rooted, she's been through everything, but she's still sweet, she's kind, she's empathetic, she's extremely intelligent, she's patient, she's classy, she carries herself with grace. She's the type of person that if you were invited to sit with the president for dinner, you would bring her with you because you know she's not going to show her ass and embarrass you. Like, she can hold her own in any type of environment and have something to say in any conversation or any circle. She would be able to navigate anything. She could hang out with billionaires, she could hang out with the homeless. Like, she is well-rounded, and that was absolutely Princess Diana. So I think Princess Diana is probably the strongest human example. She's not living anymore, but that is the high priestess. So when you think of the high priestess, you're gonna think of Princess Diana if you can't think of anything else. So that's the high priestess. If I were working with this in magic and I was trying to, say, do a love spell or something, I know that this card is me, the high priestess. So I'm going to pull this card out, and in front of my love work, my candle, whatever, I'm just going to put that high priestess there that represents me, and then a card maybe that represents my lover or someone that I'm trying to affect. If I'm trying to curse someone and this person is the high priestess, and they're very smart and very grounded, very rooted, I would probably take this card, I'm going to turn it upside down, and that would be the opposite. Somebody that doesn't weigh all their options before making a decision, somebody who isn't graceful, somebody who doesn't have that much class, somebody who isn't that empathetic. This would be upside down, and then I would do that work on her. I'm trying to throw her off of her throne. I'm trying to make her the opposite of her very enlightened self and kind of cloud her third eye a little bit. I'm trying to do the opposite, make her messy, make her mess up, make her make rash decisions, do things that she would never do normally. So that's how you would use the high priestess if you were cursing someone and doing the opposite. So we have 3 cards that we learned already. We have the high priestess, we have the magician, and we have the fool. So those are the 3 that we have gone over already. So in your weekly examples, you should have, maybe you're writing this down, examples of real life examples of the fool that you've seen, the magician, and then finding the high priestess in your life and having these cards memorized. And the next thing that you should be doing is creating card spreads that tell stories. So if you were watching a TV show, and in that TV show, say there was somebody who got bamboozled by a guy, he was pretending to be somebody else that he wasn't, and they were believing it, and then they started figuring out the cracks, and they went ahead and they followed their intuition, and they were the high priestess, and then at the end of the show, they, you know, turn it around and they get the bad guy or whatever, they uncover the truth, and they, you know, win the day, whatever it is. That's the magician. Start pulling things out like, oh, hey, in this TV show alone, I have seen examples of the high priestess, the fool, and the magician. Look for it. If it's an hour-long show, see in that hour-long show if there is one example of each of the cards that you have learned, and that's how you'll start being able to pull things out of the ether, be it when you're trying to lay these spreads for your rituals. So if you're watching true crime show or something, see if you can find it in there. You know, they may interview the friend that's like, I always knew he wasn't shit. There was something about him. You're like, oh, there we go. She's the high priestess. She's the high priestess. She's using her intuition. She's trying to protect her friend, the victim or whatever, and she was the one that was always the voice of reason in that person's life, and that person didn't listen, got killed, the fool, and the police solved it, and it was down to like one piece of hair that ended up indicating this person for the crime. The police were the magician. Stuff like that. I know those are probably like weird examples, but that's how you start pulling it into your life. If you're watching Dateline or whatever, you could do it with that. You could do it with anything. If your friend is telling you a story, and as you're listening to her and you're starting to visualize in pictures, because that's how we manifest, we see in pictures and images what she's telling you, and you're like, okay, the fool, the high priestess, the magician, and then when you get all 72 cards, you'll be able to pick that out. So if you're trying to manifest the love of your life, or you're trying to do a road opener and you're in a certain situation but you want to go to Z and you're at A, you'll be able to lay out the steps of A to Z using the tarot card and visualizing what you want to do, where you are now, and how your journey needs to go along the way to get to your desired ending. And when you start doing readings, you'll be able to read the cards for your client. So if they're asking you a question and you do a 6-card spread, you'll know exactly what those 6 cards mean. Even if some of them are reversed, you could read it backwards, because you know through and through what each card is. And that's how you become an amazing reader, is by knowing what each card is, having some sort of tie, something that reminds you of that card. The high priestess, you could say, like I said, that's Tammy, that's grandma. The magician is me. I left an abusive relationship and was homeless and went to school in the homeless shelter and then graduated from Harvard, something like that. So the magician. You know, the fool or whatever could be someone or some situation, you know, that was super stupid and they just didn't see the red flags. Like the little dog that's like gnawing on the person's dress, trying to tell them there's a hole in front of them on the card. You'll be able to know exactly who reminds you of each card, and it'll make you read it faster. You won't have to run and grab the book and try to look at the definition in the book. And there's also, you know, different layers of a card. You know, if you get the high priestess, the situation may not embody everything on the card, but certain things. You know, maybe this person doesn't have you know, grace and class or whatever, but it's giving you the high priestess because the person is open and aware of everything that's going on and knowledgeable, and they could help you out of the situation. They may not be super classy, but certain aspects of it apply to the reading. It depends on what the other cards are on each side of that card, if that makes sense. So it doesn't have to always fit 100%. And it's the same when you're using cards in your rituals. When you're laying out what you want to happen, the card doesn't have to embody the card 100%. If you're working with an aspect of the magician, it doesn't have to be everything about the magician. He's an alchemist, whatever, it's just, I'm trying to change a situation, that's it. The magician. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight, and you're starting to see how to build things, how to lay things out, how to read things. We're 3 cards in, so hopefully when we get like 5, 6, 10 cards in, that's a pretty good amount of cards. You should be able to construct little stories. I think what I'll do is I will start putting little scenarios and having you guys pull out the cards in order of how you would lay out that scenario, if that makes sense. When we get like 10 cards in, I think I'll start doing that, little challenges. I'll put out a scenario of what we're trying to achieve and see if you can guess properly of what cards we would use and what order we would put the cards in and why. And then you'll start to be able to do it faster. That's how I learned. I challenged myself that way. It sucks in the beginning, but don't give up. You don't pick up anything in a day. It's like learning a foreign language. If you were trying to learn French, you wouldn't learn that in a month, 2 months, maybe even 2 years. depending on how fast and how hard you're working at it. This is another language. It's magic. It's a completely different language. So don't give up. Don't get frustrated and upset if you're not getting it. If it takes you 10 years to get it, then it takes you fucking 10 years. The time is going to pass anyway. You're still strengthening yourself and your magical muscles by learning this. So learn it at your own pace and be kind to yourself. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.